Jai Shri Krishna. Today is Thursday and it is May 28, 2026, right? And moon is in Libra in Swati Nakshatra. So I vaguely remember with my short-term memory, I would say that May 1st was a Friday and moon was in Libra at that time in Swati Nakshatra. So today, exactly the first round, the second round we are starting rather, the first round is over. Yeah, so I briefly put a very small video for moon in Swati Nakshatra, right, as a part one. This will encompass a lot of information which maybe I would not have shared in part one. All right, so if you are born with moon in Libra in Swati Nakshatra, right, this is your video. Yes, so I started at a Friday. Today we are at a Thursday. So exactly like one day, there's a gap, right? But this is also Rahu energy, which goes counterclockwise, reverse. So think of the way after Friday is Saturday, Sunday, right? But we started on a Friday, May 1st, and now it's on a Thursday. So it's like one day backward. But that's how Rahu energy, which also shows that way. Libra energy is also the reverse. It's the Ulta energy, okay? So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting Rashi. I would say, for a lack of better word, better than what I could say, is a fascinating Rashi and a fascinating Nakshatra. Okay? All right. So before we start, Moon in Swati Nakshatra part 2, right? I'll just give my regular disclaimer, the bells and whistles. So one, please subscribe to the video by clicking the bell button as well so that you're notified with the latest and greatest videos which I publish on a frequent basis. Yeah. Two, please share your comments. Yeah, please share, because it would not only help me, help all the others rather, to kind of understand and interact as well, but it also gives a validation. See, the thing is, I'm predicting using moon and nakshatra here. Okay, and this is the most important thing, and I'm also using the transit phenomenon as well in a way to predict. Okay, a lot of things. Okay, so it kinds of gives like a validation. I heard a lot of people from moon in Hasta Nakshatra coming and saying all the things are true, right? Same thing Jyeshta Nakshatra, same thing Rohini Nakshatra, same thing Revati Nakshatra, same thing Shravana Nakshatra, right? Even for Uttarashada and so many nakshatras, literally everybody has validated it. Pura Falguni, Uttara Falguni. Yeah. So please share your comments. The last point, the third point is, there is the app called the Clubhouse app. You can download it in iOS or Android. I teach, and there is a link I've provided in my channel as well. I teach free sessions in the Vedic Astrology Club every week, Wednesday around 7:20 p.m. Okay, so you have to download the app and you have to get into the club called the Vedic Astrology Club. It's free sessions of Vedic astrology if you're interested. Yeah, and there is also 4 to 5 years of archives I've taught. I've been doing this for the last 4 or 5 years in Vedic Astrology Club in Clubhouse. Yeah. Okay. So if you're interested again, I just did the session yesterday, which was on Bhavat Bhavam. So next week again, we'll have this session. So just be thoughtful. If you're interested, I think you can definitely join. Again, food for thought if you're interested in learning. Okay. Now, the question is, moon, we are going to be discussing today with moon in Libra in Swati Nakshatra. Okay. So again, if moon in Swati Nakshatra, don't bring any other planet, don't confuse anything. Okay. Now, if you're born with moon in Libra in Swati Nakshatra, year 2013, early 2013 to almost 2014 mid or something would have been difficult. Okay. This is again, I'm using the transit phenomenon. Simple. Okay. 2013 to early 2014 would have been difficult. 2013, absolutely yes, bang on, you will see that. Please add that in the comment section as well, okay? This is a nakshatra owned by Rahu. It is Rahu's Mula Trikona nakshatra. Mula Trikona means favorite nakshatra, okay? Rahu owns 2 other nakshatras, Satabhisha and Ardra. There is a misconception that people sometimes think Satabhisha is Rahu's favorite nakshatra. It is not. Okay, it is not. You have to also understand Rahu is Swarbhanu, okay, who is born to Simhika, okay, and the sage Viparachit in a very awkward, wrong hour. That is where we also use the Rahu card today, eventually, right? Because Rahu himself as Swarbhanu was born in the wrong timing, which the sage Viparachit already cautioned Simhika. But Simhika didn't listen, right? So Simhika is Hiranyakship's sister, okay? The sloka for Rahu is also, you will see, Ardhakaryam Mahaviryam Chandraditya Vimartanam Simhika Garbha Sambodham Tam Rahum Pranamam Vimam. All right? Okay. Now, Swati Nakshatra is a very unique nakshatra than all the 26 nakshatras in many ways. Okay? There are many ways. Okay? One, if you look at it, it's the only nakshatra in the 27 nakshatras, okay, the only nakshatra where two planets have some kind of, status, exaltation and debilitation. Saturn is exalted exactly at 20 degrees Swati Nakshatra, where Swati Nakshatra ends. Swati Nakshatra almost starts at 6 degrees 40 minutes in Libra and ends at 20 degrees in Libra. So the whole nakshatra is in Libra. So exactly at the end point of Swati Nakshatra, right, 20 degrees. And after 20, you have Visakha. Okay, that is where Swati Nakshatra ends, and that is where Saturn exalts. Okay. Now, exactly at 10 degrees at Swati Nakshatra, okay, 10 degrees at Swati Nakshatra, Sun, if you see, debilitates. All right. Okay, Sun debilitates. So in a way, if you see, right, in a way, if you see, Sun exactly debilitates at the point there. So 10 degrees means, if you see, almost after the first pada is finishing. 6 degrees 40s, you will see Chitra finish, and 6:40 Swati starts. 10 degrees first pada finishes, and exactly at first pada, it kind of debilitates. Okay. What is this importance? How do I interpret it? What does this mean? Again, I said the only nakshatra where Saturn and Sun, exalts and debilitates here. Saturn exalts, Sun debilitates. Saturn is servant. Saturn is the mass. Okay. Saturn is also karma. Sun is a soul. Sun is also the father. So these nakshatra people have a lot of karma with their father. Okay, because Sun debilitates here. This is very important. Okay, they would have issues with father. They may not be in the same frequency with father. The wavelength, thought process is different, or they may be emotionally separated from the father, or the values may not align with the father. The father may be traveling. The father may not be available, or the father has an early demise. Any of those things. Okay, the father thing is a question mark. Okay, the father and they may not be in good terms also, either way. Even though they may be talking, but the frequency wavelength is not going to match. Okay. Okay. Now, so this is one way of looking at it, and we will break down as we go into this video. This is going to be a comprehensive video because I know, people have been waiting for it. I put a very short video on Swati Nakshatra on May 1st, Friday. Yeah. So the wait is over. Let's put it that way. All right. Okay. Now, the karma nakshatras we have to see, right? The karma nakshatras for people born with moon in Swati Nakshatra is all the other Rahu nakshatras, Satabhisha and Ardra. Okay. Next is you have Venus nakshatras. All right. Venus nakshatras will be Bharani, Purvashada, Purva Falguni, and Purvashada. Okay. Next is Mars nakshatras, Mrigashira, Chitra, Dhanishta. Sun nakshatras, Kritika, Uttara Falguni, Uttarashada. Moon nakshatras. Okay. There's a lot of karma here. Okay. Moon nakshatras. You have starting from Rohini, then you have Hasta and Jyeshta. Hasta and Shravana, my mistake. Okay, Moon Nakshatra, Rohini, Hasta and Shravana. Yeah, Saturn nakshatras. Okay, so Saturn nakshatras start from Pushya, Anuradha, and Uttara Bhadrapada. Last is Ketu nakshatra. Okay, Ketu nakshatra, which is Ashwini Magha Mula, and a special thing for Jyeshta. And I will also explain that in Mercury nakshatra. Okay, now if you we'll touch a little bit of Rohini and Jyeshta here. Okay, if you go and read, there is something called Leel Sukha from Krishna Karnamrudam. Okay, Leel Sukha from Krishna Karnamrudam. I should say it the right way. Okay, and there are over 300 poem verses. Okay, now in that what happens is there is a stanza poem where it says that whenever moon enters Libra in Swati nakshatra, entering Libra will be Chitra, but when it comes to Swati nakshatra specifically, special blue color casting pearls are formed. So the pearl is still a white color, yeah, but it has a blue cast. When I say blue cast, means it has a tinge of blue, or the ultraviolet blue kind of a thing, and it may not be usually visible with the naked eye. You have to look at in a spectrophotometer box, right, under a UV light or something. Okay, it's got a bluish thing, and it's very special. Okay, it's very special. These are all natural pearls, not man-made pearls. Okay, and you have to understand, right, they are formed from the oyster, and usually the formation happens when moon enters Chitra in Virgo, right? But the more and more comes in Libra, because Chitra is a broken nakshatra. See my 2 videos on Chitra nakshatra. Okay, so what happens is when moon, Chandra was with Rohini, she always had this thing saying that whenever you go to Libra, especially Swati nakshatra, there is this special thing happening, like this pearl which is extremely white but has got this bluish cast and everything. So I am very fascinated with it, but I also want to get that kind of an energy here. Okay, so Soma Chandra said when the Daksha thing curse happened, right, when Vishnu already removed the curse along with Shiva together, Shiva took that Chandra and kept it as a crescent in the head, right, during the Akshaya Tritiya time. Vishnu has already said that when in one of the avatars he is going to come, he will use Chandra to do a special reincarnation in the Dasa avatar. Okay, and Chandra said that it will be in Rohini nakshatra. Okay, don't worry, the blue gem may be in Swati nakshatra, but the blue-eyed boy or the blue-eyed person, right, itself will come when moon is in Rohini nakshatra. So the story goes where Krishna eventually is born with moon in Rohini nakshatra. Okay, so it's like a blue-eyed boy, like a blue pearl kind of a thing. Okay, all right, so this is the story, but you should go and read little bit about the Leela Sukha, what I mentioned from Krishna Karmamrtam. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff in Sanskrit, but some of them are decoded, in English also, right? Okay, so there is a shloka for Swati itself over there. Okay, now coming back. Okay, so we've seen a lot. So pearls are absolutely a very good thing. Gifting pearls, donating pearls, giving pearl necklace to Lakshmi and Saraswati. So this is the only nakshatra where Saraswati and Lakshmi meets. Okay, usually Saraswati and Lakshmi don't meet, because once one has the knowledge or information which is Saraswati, right, there is a curse involved that you get too much of a ego, right? And Brahmins in a way today have that curse from Lakshmi. Okay, unless and until you pray to Lakshmi. This is the most important thing. Brahmins have to pray to Lakshmi even before they pray to Vishnu. Okay, all right. This is the only place where Saraswati and Lakshmi meets. Saraswati as Swati nakshatra, right, which is also associated with Saraswati, and Lakshmi is the Tula Bara here. The whole Libra itself is Venus, which is Lakshmi in a way, Bhargavi. Okay, that is why the sloka also comes. Hima Kundam Rinalabam Daityanam Paramam Gurum Sharva Shastra Prabhattaram Bhargavam Pranamamimam. Yeah, Shukracharya is also called Bhargava Shukracharya. Okay, So Lakshmi herself was born as, sister of Shukracharya in a way, right? Born to all of them, born to Brigu. Okay. Now, so this is the connection with, we saw the connection with Swati and Rohini. We'll also look at with Jyeshta in a minute, okay? Now, Swati energy is associated with Vayu, the wind, okay? And you can see that in Ramayana and Mahabharata also, okay? In Ramayana, you can see in a way as Hanuman, the wind energy, and as Vayuputra, and you can see in Mahabharata as Bhima, okay? Now, if you see, Jyeshta energy is associated with Indra and Rohini with Krishna. We just saw the connection between Rohini and Swati. Okay, for Jyeshta, the thing is, the first person Indra always calls is Vayu to do any demolition. Okay, he doesn't call Soma at all. Soma is with him always. Okay, so in the order of Vayu, right? In the order of Vayu, Agni and Varuna. That's kind of the order he always calls. Vayu is the first person. Okay, so there is a very strong connection between Jyeshta and Swati. Okay, because of the Indra connection, but not the other Mercury nakshatras in a way. But here, definitely Jyeshta and Swati is there. Okay, this is very prominent. All right. So, this is a very strong nakshatra in a way, which can even control Jyeshta, which can even take upper hand over Jyeshta, Kritika, Pabba, which is Pura Falguni. Okay, right? And they are a little bit always looking out for the Swati nakshatra because of that energy. And you'll also see later Narasimha, Parashurama, all comes in Swati nakshatra. The connection is there. Okay, all right. Now, Vayu. Okay, the Vedic deity is Vayu, which is actually wind energy. Okay, and it's a very swift energy, and wind is also need for the breath, right? Okay, so the breath, that is why if you see the third house is also connected with wind energy, and the natural Kalpurush third house is Gemini, which is also a wind energy house, right? So the pranayam and everything, right? This is the wind energy. Okay, all right. It's the light of the atmosphere, they say. The light here is the thunderstorm. In a way, think about lightning comes first before the thunderstorm. Light comes first. Okay, people, so it's also very impatient energy. They may start a lot of projects, but they may not finish the projects because it's the restlessness and impatience happening. Think about the wind which scatters. Think about the freedom, the lover of freedom. Think about the freedom of travel and inflexibility. Okay, all of it is associated here. Okay, so in Ramayana itself, we saw Hanuman, right? And Mahabharata, you have Bhima. You have the same characteristics, right? The story goes even Hanuman doesn't know his power. That is also the other thing. My guru always used to say, Swati Nakshatra people, if they don't have any negative energy and if they're extremely positive, they can achieve anything in life. Yeah, Parashurama. Think about Parashurama and Bhishma, okay, when they fought because of Amba had to come and complain to Parashurama, right, about that Bhishma is not marrying her and nobody wants to marry, right? What happened if you see, right? Bhishma was in the chariot. Parashurama did not have a chariot. He just prayed and he automatically went up to fight Bhishma in the air. They used the wind energy. Parashurama used the wind energy again because he's himself the reincarnation of Shukra energy. Okay, in the Vishnu Davasa avatars, he uses Shukra, okay, in a way. And Parashurama is also associated with Swati Nakshatra, okay. And if you also see when Bhishma was in the deathbed, okay, eventually, right, sage Marichi himself came, right, along with Narada. Saptarishi Marichi came to bless Bhishma and the soul to get moksha once the Uttarayana thing happens. Okay, so Marichi is connected with this nakshatra Swati here. That's the important thing. We'll come back. Okay, now we will dive deeper about some characteristics and stuff of Swati nakshatra. They have typically yellowish cast also in the body, right? Because the Swati itself has got a yellowish and a bluish cast in a way. Okay, it's a young plant which is blown by the wind. Because it's blown by the wind, there is no root. The root is also always connected with Mula Nakshatra. There's no root here. Okay, so it's easily blown, right? It's a double-edged sword. The same sword can use to kill somebody, can also kill you as oneself. Why? Because if you follow adharma, that is Swati Nakshatra. You cannot follow adharma here. Okay, it's all about dharma. This sword, which is two-edged, won't do anything to you as long as you follow the path of dharma. Okay, all right. It is very cutting, fiery quality. Okay, and you see a similar cutting energy in Kritika, which is a little different. Okay, it's air energy here. It's always air energy, and there is a balance, a scale. And think about in a science lab, you have a scales, equilibrium, balance, which is always kept in a closed box so that air doesn't go in to change the balance, right? That is that air energy. It's also the blade of grass, what I mentioned, as a young plant without any roots. Okay, they are very self-going, independent. Okay, good goer. They are like, they can use like even the pen as a sword. The pen is mightier than the sword. Will absolutely align with Swati Nakshatra people. Okay, anything with the writing, they can make damages. Okay, in the press, publications, etc. They can be it's a self-blowing energy. Okay, it doesn't need even extra any energy to lift itself, right? Like Parashurama lifted himself, right? Think of that way. Next is also, if you want to see that they're very delicate and very tender. Okay, that is very important. They're very delicate and tender. Okay, their actual achievement only takes for them once they focus. Okay, the focus becomes a very important thing because it's a very scattered wind energy, right? The focus becomes very important, and that's where it can be their downfall also without focus. Okay, they are very restlessness is the right word, I would say. Adaptability is good, but they are also restlessness. There is a lot of delicacy and dexterity, and they like to roam. Okay, they need that strength and independence, but they can also procrastinate, and they're very social. Okay, think about even in Vayu, right? In Ramayana, right? Even Hanuman doesn't know his power. Bhima always had his ego, if you see, right? So that is where the thing is, even Krishna had to teach Bhima a lesson with his ego. Okay, so Bhima thinks he can lift anything and everything with his power, right? And Krishna himself had to come and prove at a point that come as a very old person. Okay, so that is something important. All right, they are very pleasant in speech. Okay, they're very compassionate, very self-controlled, and people with principles. They are very good business people. Libra is also trade, merchant. Okay, can also be very destructive in a way, right? And unforgiving, but also shy and gentle. So there is a lot of things involved. There are 3 principles of Libra associated with Swati Nakshatra, which is very important. The law, which is also the ethics and legality, right? Ethics, principles. Okay, second is love, and third is money. Okay, these are the 3 major Libra significations, which is very, very strong in Swati Nakshatra. The health-wise is chest and intestines they need to be careful about. Yeah, chest and intestines. And I also mentioned about negative energy, so mind. Okay. Now, when sun is debilitated here in the nakshatra, so there is a lot of karma issues with the father. Okay. The animal associated is a male buffalo. All right. Okay, so the animal associated here is male buffalo. So this is a little bit different. Yeah, because one, it's a male buffalo, so it's a very strong energy of a male buffalo, right? And also you have monkey energy here, little bit of a monkey energy. Okay, that is the restlessness. You can see that. Pigeons, okay, and the bird which eats the bees. The bee become a very important thing associated with Shukracharya. You also see in Vamana Avatar a bee comes. You also see in Mahabharata a bee comes and stings Karna when he's with Parashurama. So the bee, this is more like a bee-eating bird. The bird which eats the bee. Okay? All right. So Moon and Swati Nakshatra people. Okay? Moon and Swati Nakshatra can be very good social media, anything with social media, anything with TV host, like shows and celebrity shows and those things. air energy, anything with air, aviation, pilot, stewardess, right? Travel navigator, philosophy, adaptability. Think about in COVID, you had a lot of people moving out, nomad visas and everything, nomads, gypsies, right? Those kind of things. Even HR managers who wants to do the change management principles, project management principles, etc. Anything with wind energy, right? Airlines, windmills, okay? Usually, wherever Swati Nakshatra is, I will tell you the airport or something will be nearby their house, or a windmill, anything wind turbines, anything with wind energy, you can see that very strong, okay? Pilots, air traffic controller, race cars, not regular cars, race cars, because high speed, they use the wind energy, okay? Supply chain, anything with supply chain, R&D, logistics, you move things, right? Firefighters, because wind is the one energy which can break the fire other than water, okay? And you need like oxygen, right? If you don't have oxygen, the fire cannot, expand, okay? So these are some of the professions, okay? Numbers. Number is 1 or 5. You can do anything 1 time or 5 times. Energy is middle of the room. Vayu is the Vedic deity. So Vam Vayuve Namaha. Marichi is the Saptarishi. Om Marichiye Namaha 5 times. You want to play to Kala and Varuna, who are the spouse of Marichi. Now, even though Marichi is very famous, but not as famous as his son, who is Kashyapa. Okay. So Saraswati is also a deity here. Lakshmi is a deity here, and Vishnu are also the deities. You can pray to Om Lakshmiye Namaha, Om Vishnuve Namaha, Om Saraswatiye Namaha. Okay. Now the temple itself, if you see, right, the temple itself for moon in Swati Nakshatra is Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Swami temple. Okay, that's in a place in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, it's in a place called Penugonda. Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Swami temple in Penugonda in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, now do understand, you can also visit Narasimha temple, because Narasimha temple, any Narasimha temple, not on Swati Nakshatra day, specifically when moon is in Libra in Swati Nakshatra with strength, which means sun has to be 4 places away before or after, and there should not be Saturn or Rahu or Ketu with the moon. Okay, go visit and you will see big changes in the life. Parashurama temple also you can visit. Okay, from anywhere from Kerala to Karnataka, the Western Ghats, everything is Parashurama Kshetra, even all the way till Goa. Okay, so Parashurama Shukra energy again here. This is the Rashi of Mula Trikona Rashi of Shukra. Okay, and when Saturn also gets exalted and Rahu's Mula Trikona Nakshatra is here. So all the energy of Saturn, Venus, Rahu coming together to debilitate the sun. Sun cannot be otherwise, cornered. Yeah, Shukra's favorite Rashi here, not even Taurus, here, Libra. The scales, this is the only sign which doesn't have any human or animals. All other 11 signs will have animals or human. Think about Aries, Ram, right? Taurus, you have a cow, right? Or a buffalo, you can call it. Gemini, couples. Cancer, crab. Leo, lion. Virgo, virgin girl. Okay, Libra is the scales. We'll keep it aside, a symbol. Sagittarius, Scorpion, Sagittarius, Centaur, a half human, right? Like a half human ready for a bow and arrow, right? That's a Centaur. Capricorn, like a crocodile. Okay, so again an animal. It's like Varuna sitting on a crocodile. So animal, human there. Aquarius, human with a pitcher. Okay, pitcher, right? A pitcher. And Pisces, 2 fishes. So if you see, this is the only sign which doesn't have any animal or human. It is symbol, right? You see the same symbol in a court, justice, right? So as I say, this is the house where everything stops and goes ulta. Sun exalts in Aries. When it comes, it has to get debilitated. So everything is seen opposite. It's a mirror. Everything is seen mirror. The mirror image is always ulta image. Okay, for example, Sun gets Digbala in the first house in Aries. Okay, but here, if you put this as a Libra as an ascendant, Sun is in the 7th house now. Even though he's exalted, he's in Nishbala. So everything goes opposite, right? So this is very important. Your spouse, your business partner, friends, everything Libra sign becomes important. Business, right? absolutely Libra is important, right? Venus comes as very important house here, right? And Saturn gets exalted. See, astrology talks about a yoga called Dharma Karma Adhipati Yoga. But here with Libra, it's actually Karma Dharma Adhipati Yoga. Karma comes first. So think about a scale, right? A scale where first what happens, you put the weight, 1 pound, 2 pounds, 1 kilo, 2 kilo, and then you add tomatoes or something to the thing. So first is the left. So the way Saturn holds the scale, first he kind of sees what's your all your karma, and he will try to give that first before the dharma comes, right? So that's why it's called Karma Dharma Adhipati Yoga, not Dharma Karma Adhipati Yoga from Libra. Okay, and Rahu, it's the favorite disciple as Swarbanu for Shukra. In a way, that is why he also got the blessing of the Amrit. He became Rahu and Ketu as from Swarbanu, but he got the Amrit, right? And because he's the number one devotee of Shukra, right? Okay, now, so Narasimha avatar, right? Narasimha himself came out to kill Hiranyakshap, right? To protect Prahlad, and he was using the wind energy in the middle, in the outside, on the front door to kill, and he came out of a thing as a half lion, right? Lion with a human form and half lion in a way, right? And that was in Swati Nakshatra. That is a destructive energy. And even nobody could control the destructive energy of Narasimha after he was killed. The Asura was killed. Eventually, Prahlad has to pray to him to kind of calm him down. That is the destructive energy. Yeah? Okay. Now, if you go to, if I remember right, it is in Jambukeshwara temple. There is a special thing for Saturn there with Swati Nakshatra, because Saturn is exalted there. So if you go to Jambukeshwara temple, please go and pray the Saturn over there, who is sitting very strong in Swati Nakshatra energy there. Yeah? Okay. And luck. Luck is something I always say. Luck will change for people with moon in Libra in Swati Nakshatra at 28, 38, 44, 57. 28, 38, 44, 57. All right. Couple of important remedies. Donate the Tulabara to any merchant, people like street vendors or somebody, right? If you have them, give them a Tulabara, which is a very good remedy. This is to poor people, right? Who has a push cart, right? For vegetables and stuff. Give it to them, okay? There is a very big Tulabara in Mahalakshmi temple. If you go to Kolhapur, okay? Go around the Tulabara 3 times praying to Lakshmi, okay? And I always say this, if you have a chance, not only you go around Tulabara clockwise 3 times praying to Lakshmi, right? You can also hug the Tula and pray for what you want. But hugging is at your own risk. Don't show this video as an evidence for getting into trouble, okay? But get the blessing of Tulabara. The Tulabara is such an important thing. Maha Mrityunjaya mantra is a very important thing, which is also associated with Shukra, okay? So Swati Nakshatra people can also do that, all right? Praying to Shiva. Every time for Shukra is always Shiva, yeah? So I hope this was helpful. Please share your comments and feedback. Again, luck will change at 28, 38, 44, 57, okay? Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you. I will see you soon in another video. Yeah.